The second meeting of the month of October to order. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills. Present. Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
I'm present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present. Trustee Gady, you want to lead us in the pledge? Can everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gata. Move on to item number 3, recognition of the audience. This is a time if someone has a question or concern about something that is not on the agenda this evening, they'd like to bring it before the board or the village staff. Now's the time to come forward. Dr. Steinberg, can you identify yourself for the record?
Yes, Robert Steinberg, 4158. I don't think that microphone.
Is that on? Sounds like it's on, yeah.
I just thought I'd bring some of you up to speed on what's been going on in the Fourth Fest Committee. Food went really well this year. There weren't long lines for food. Linda was successful in getting 3 Hoffman Estates businesses to be vendors, and it's been a long time since we had any Hoffman Estates restaurants doing that, so that was really good. Unimart, Moretti's, and Sweet Caroline's, plus the others. Attendance was a little down this year. And we had a good band lineup. Of course, I picked the bands, so I'm going to say that. But you look at the local bands, and they're rated A bands, B bands, and C bands. And our headliners were all B bands with, Seventh Heaven has 43,000 followers on Facebook, and High Infidelity has like 33,000, and then everybody's kind of below that. So, I saw the low attendance, and we mark it really well by the amount of beer sales we have. So Steve Henn gives us a report on that. And I talked to a lot of bands that were over at Frontier Days. So what Frontier Days did for 5 days is they had national acts. They probably had a entertainment budget of $200,000. Ours is 25. That's all we need. We don't need anything more. And so bands I know that perform there, not the national acts, but local bands, they said the place was packed and everything. So we talked about it at our July wrap-up meeting about, well, maybe we should not be on the same weekend as Frontier Days. I called Frontier Days, and they called me back in a day or two and told me that next year they're going to be Saturday before the 4th through the 4th of July. And I went back to the commission and said, maybe we should go to the weekend after the 4th of July. They all agreed, and we changed the dates. That was in August that we changed the dates. So it makes sense. There's very few other festivals. Mount Prospect has one, and Lake and Hills Rib Fest. It'll be a lot different. We went through the usual things, doing carnival contracts, fireworks contracts early, and then the bands for next year. So I went to 14 fests this summer, and I had a blast. And I heard maybe 50 bands, and had a good long list of good bands. Presented that at the last meeting of the Fourth Fest Committee. We started talking about it when someone suggested that maybe we should only have a 2-day fest and change the 3rd day to an ethnic festival of some kind. And the thing just got momentum, and all of a sudden, that's what everybody voted on. There's nobody on the commission that could help with putting on an ethnic fest. The person who suggested it had not talked to a single soul in the village with any of the ethnic communities about maybe doing something like that. Colleen Palmer, our representative from the Park District, who's a park and recreation professional, and previously she was in the Park District South. She ran their 4th of July festival. She has some other expertise. She suggested that maybe we don't jump into this feet first, and we maybe do just an afternoon, like Sunday afternoon from noon to 4 or 5, because that's kind of a slow time. But I don't know what happened, and all of a sudden, our celebration of our independence has kind of changed. Someone's forgotten what it's about. I'd like the board to think about that, and I'd like the board to overrule the commission. It's absolutely wrong, and you can talk about it, to me later, or the mayor, because he was there. It just was wrong. A couple other things. I requested that we go out for bid on our sound system. We didn't do it before. Other bands have told me we were paying too much for stage lighting and sound. And because we went to bid, we're saving $2,500, and we're getting much better equipment with a different company. That went really well at the commission. The people who bid showed up except for one, and so that's a good thing. They approved 2 nights of bands so far, 6 bands that I recommended they approved and everything. One band already has been taken up by another date for someplace else, because this was all supposed to be done in September, and at the last minute, someone suggested they want to suggest bands besides me. Yes, they've had 12 months to do that, but last September it came to mind that they wanted to do it now, so we delayed. So I have to switch one band and get permission from them to do that. It also came up at the meeting before that maybe we changed our time from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. Lieutenant Joe, Roger from Public Works, Sue from Finance, Dan O'Malley, Ben Gibbs, they all have to hang around for 2 hours before a meeting starts, which is absurd. And so it came up again at this meeting, and everybody voted, well, everybody but 2 people voted to move our meetings to 5 o'clock. In fact, one of the people who voted no, their husband voted yes. So right now, that's the way it stands, and it'll be like many of the other citizens commissions. They meet early. Which one meets at 3:45? The
Village Green Ad Hoc Committee meets.
And Plots Concert.
And then the other ones are early, so this will be better, because it's a tiring night if we go till 9 o'clock at night. And you guys know, because you do it, you're here late all the time. So that's kind of what's going on. I mentioned to the mayor that someone approached me about wanting to be on the commission. Someone who lives out by you. I saw him at the party on Saturday night out there. But other than that, we mostly have fun, kind of. I know, Bill doesn't think of it as a lot of fun, but it's fun. And Jackie knows what she's doing, but she gets shouted down too much. 2 people have said with the 5 o'clock change, they no longer can come to meetings. So the question is whether they're still on the commission, which I have to leave up to the mayor. And that's kind of it. If anybody has any input or suggestions or anything that they saw at the festival this year or last, let us know. Because, we want things to be perfect and to go off without a hitch. And any of you want to come to the meeting? Gary, if you ever want to come to the meeting, we could use your help. I've discovered, this is a secret, maybe you guys don't know this, I discovered out at our Plots concert when I started talking to Gary about the different sound systems I'd been researching and learning the equipment. Gary used to be in a band.
I used to be a sound guy, too.
And he knows all this stuff. So it reinforced what other people told me about what we need as a minimum sound system. So that was invaluable. And I used your name, Gary. So.
Thank you. I'm sure that helped you.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is, because it's not just always, my way. I try to back up my opinions with facts, but sometimes that's not enough. So thank you, Mayor, for letting me be on the committee still. And, do contact me if you have anything.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Dr. Steinberg.
I have a question,
Yes.
though. Are we only down to 2 days now for this festival?
Well, the 3rd day is not going to be the regular festival. We have a big stage and lighting and sound system, and we're not going to have any of the local bands as of right now, because they're going to try to get ethnic little local bands or something that even my band contacts. The first thing I did is I went home and I sent emails to my band contacts, do you know any of these ethnic bands? And I got 0 response from any of them. I know they exist, but, don't have a finger into another community to know where to find these people. Our restaurants that Linda has tried to get to be vendors have not wanted to, so those ethnicities aren't something that can help us. We probably should, if we're going to ever do something like this, is get sponsors. Because what else we did is that night, they voted, when they decided they were going to do Sunday as an ethnic night, they moved fireworks to Saturday, which means Dan had to call the fireworks company and get it changed in the contract, which being the weekend after the 4th of July, probably, I hope, wasn't a problem. But, it's like, it makes no sense, Gary. It
So we're
really-
not doing the fireworks on the 4th of July anymore either?
Well, we haven't been for a long time unless 4th of July is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And even then, when it was on a Monday, the mayor made the point that, if the next day is a work day, it's kind of hard with families, so we wouldn't even do it, let's say, on a Monday. If Tuesday was a work day, we would do it on a Sunday instead of a Monday. So for 5 times out of 7, it's not on a weekend. And it hasn't been for much of all the years.
See, I don't remember it being, this year, yes, I remember it was was it a Sunday this year or something like that?
Fireworks have been on a Sunday for a whole bunch of years now.
Yeah.
And of course, the parade is on the 4th of July, and it's well attended. And I'll let you guys fight with the people who now, ones want it back on their street, who didn't want it before, and the ones that had it this year don't want it to leave.
Well, I know the people in Illinois are unhappy that it wasn't there this year.
Trustee Palafis, you have something?
Yeah, and I don't know how much of a discussion we want to turn this into, but, so just for my clarity, the fest is now on the 6th, 7th, 8th, or, okay.
Yes, 6th, 7th, and 8th,
So the parade will be on Wednesday to 4th.
right in the middle of the
And
week.
then the fest will be the 6th and 7th, and then Sunday the 8th will be
Who knows?
something other than what we've
Other.
done before.
But that, see, to me, that's not what the 4th of July Commission was created for. I mean, I wasn't, a long time ago, I wasn't here on the thing, but I can't imagine that's why the commission was created, to do anything but put on a Fourth Fest. I mean, that's why it's called Northwest Fourth Fest. That's the other thing we discussed, too. Maybe it's time to stop using Northwest. We only have help from Hanover Township now, and they could still be mentioned prominently as a sponsor along with the Park District. And, I want to see Hoffman Estates all over the place. Hoffman Estates Summerfest, Hoffman Estates Summerfest. That way, if we change weekends to avoid real competition, we don't have to change the name again. And I just want to see Hoffman Estates, Hoffman Estates, Hoffman Estates.
I know Ben has had a surreal amount of success with some ethnic groups inside the arena.
Inside.
Does he think he can replicate it outside? Is
Well,
that
that's
kinda
what
where-
that's what he claimed, except if you looked at the demographics of where the ethnic groups came from, they came from a huge area. Hoffman Estates didn't fill that place up.
Right.
Ben doesn't know the local, he doesn't know the local community. He's not part of it. He lives downtown. And he knows how to manage a performing arts center, like the Sears Center. That's what his expertise is. His company that hired him, they book the big national acts that come around, but for the most part, and he does the, all the legwork for the specifics, on them. But
So let me think here. I had a question. So the parade, the carnival. Sorry, I had the right word in my head. I couldn't get it. The carnival is what days?
well, it's longer than the fest, so they show up when they pick up stakes from wherever else they were, and then they, instead of stopping in between, they'll pick up and they'll go right to their next place and then stay by us a little bit longer after our festival, and people show up because they don't want to pick up, park someplace, and then go to their next site. They'd like to stay on site until they're ready to pack up and go directly to their next gig.
So the carnival. The reason I'm asking is because there's a huge difference in my observation and talking to the carnival people from the types of ethnicities that enjoy the carnival versus those that enjoy the entertainment.
There is a difference. If you walk over there,
But when you don't have entertainment of any kind, the carnival dies. And I didn't know what days the carnival was being planned for, if it was Friday, Saturday, and
they could be set up Thursday. If they tear down on the night of the 4th of July and they're close, they'll probably just come right over. Who knows? It's there if they want to be there early. For sure, they'll be ready and operating on Friday. And they could go a couple days afterwards, But we've allowed them we've allowed them to do that if something else isn't going on. Dan handles all that stuff, with them, and we don't have any problems with the, the carnival setting up and that kind of stuff.
Trustee Gator, you got some?
Now, when you say ethnic, all right, which ethnic group are you talking? Are you talking one or two? Or
Just one ethnic group, Hispanic.
Or
how can they just single one out when this village?
My question exactly. And we have a cultural commission. And we just had a Hispanic festival, Mayor, right?
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
It was well attended. I was there.
Yeah, we do lots of things in this town for, we know the makeup of the town, and lots of stuff is going on, and why someone wanted to change our 3-day 4th of July festival into something other, I don't know.
And the other question is, by the way, because my background is food. Just because you know a restaurant, they really and truly do not have the capability, they don't have the equipment at all
Right.
to be a concessionaire.
Right.
So when somebody mentions that to you, I mean, if there was 5 of them, right? One, if you're lucky, right? If you took 25, you might get 3, but other than that.
Well, all 3 of the restaurants in Hoffman Estates that did do it this year also cater. And
Different story.
they don't have to rent the equipment.
Right.
They have the equipment. So of course, Moretti's and Sweet Caroline, they know how to do these things, and they're set up. I see them at our neighboring town too, so yes, I've been taught that by somebody, that just because they have a restaurant, it doesn't mean. But she did get 3 Hoffman Estates restaurants that we did not have before, which is like huge.
That's all I have,
really
Mayor.
good.
Okay.
I got a question, Mayor.
Trustee Stanton.
Dan, is this coming up to the board for a vote on this kind of change?
It'll be, you'll be considering it as part of the budget. It's, I'm trying to think of how that detail would actually come to you guys to decide. But the festival is going to run, if you look how it happened this year, there was 2 carnival-only days that happened at the back end of the carnival because
Right.
of where 4th of July fell. This year it falls on a Wednesday, so the first 2 days are carnival-only. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so Wednesday, Thursday will be carnival-only with the parade on the 4th of July like it always is. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be the full fest where there's food and drink and all the entertainment. So it's, I mean, from that standpoint, it's really no different than what's been done in years past when the 4th of July falls in the middle of the week. It just depends on which way you have the festival. Do you have the weekend before and then the 4th of July on the
Well, my
Wednesday?
question more is to the acts that are going to be here.
Well, the acts, the only time that the acts would come to you is when they're a dollar value over what the manager can authorize. So if it's over a $20,000 expenditure for a band, that comes before the board for approval. Anything that's under that is basically the bands, when the budget comes to you, typically that isn't ready yet, so we don't know what they are. We're a little bit ahead this year from where we've been in years past. But the details of that, unless it's something that's really different, I don't know that that would come to you.
Unless one of you decided to bring it up to the board, and make a decision. To what Dan is saying, one of the things that I've been pushing for is to get a lot of our major decisions done between July and September meetings. And I convinced the chair that if we got the major stuff done between July and September, we probably wouldn't have to have a meeting till we had approved tents and porta potties in the spring, because everything would be done. All the bands would be saving the dates, waiting for contracts in a new budget year, and stage lighting and sound would be done, and that's the hard thing. And you got to get these bands early, because the A bands, Seventh Heaven plays 250 times a year. If you want to get them, you need to book them in a couple of months of the 4th of July weekend, or they're gone already, as
Trustee
one let me know
Palafis, you had
today. So that's why the early push, and then it helps staff, because then they actually know the dollar amounts. It helps the committee, because then they know the actual dollar amounts of the band. And what I proposed this year was under budget, by the way.
But historically, in my experience, being at a bunch of the commissions, the board doesn't lean with much oversight in terms of directing the commissions, unless something is voted on at the commission level to come to the committee. So 4th of July standing committee is finance. But other than from an appropriations perspective of funds, we really don't do much.
No, you're right, we don't.
Like a lot of them fall under GAAP. But unless they're asking for more than what they budgeted for, something separate, like the one time we had a request for T-shirts and, just random things, there's normally not, anything that comes to the board. So actually, there's been a long-standing kind of a quiet agreement that the board doesn't mess with the commissions.
But Trustee Falafis, you also have a responsibility to the residents.
We do.
And the commissions are not just by law free to do whatever they want.
True.
I mean, that's what you're here for, is to backstop if there's a problem. And as a taxpayer, I'm telling you there's a problem. And if you want this thing turned up on your heads, then leave everything the way it was. You're going to have all the food vendors on that Sunday with no business. And they pay a lot of money to be there.
Manager O'Malley, do you have a comment?
Really, the only difference that the commission decided this year was the type of entertainment that's going to be on Sunday. Everything else is basically identical to what you've seen in the past. It's just that what they're looking to do on Sunday was to do more Hispanic music for the day instead of just one act.
I forget,
that's the
Mr.
difference.
O'Malley, what bands were suggested for that?
For what?
For Sunday, the Hispanic Day? What were the names of the bands that Linda suggested?
I don't know. They didn't really talk about specific bands.
Right.
We were there. They
Right.
talked about.
No pre-planning for this whatsoever. We're at the time of making decisions, and all of a sudden, someone comes up with something absolutely out of left field. No planning, no one to talk to, no bands. This has got your name on it. You're the trustees.
Well, back to what I was trying to say. Like I said, it's really no different than any other year. The structure is exactly the same. The only difference is they're looking at more specific type of entertainment on Sunday than what has been happened in the past.
Oh, so the music we've had before, Mr. O'Malley, wasn't specific to 4th of July and a hometown celebration and a celebration of our country's independence? The fest is no longer going to be that.
We had an ABBA tribute band. What did they have to do with the 4th of July celebration in the United States of America?
They play nice American songs.
They were horrible. They were even
Which
worse than
which
ABBA.
one?
That's the heart of
Which?
the
The ABBA
issue right
tribute
there.
band.
Which
They
one?
were awful.
Who?
ABBA.
Oh yeah, they weren't good.
They were horrible.
There's something was wrong with them, and Infinity wasn't good either. But though Mr. Gibbs offers his opinion, he didn't show up to the fest, so he wasn't there to hear him. And we try our best. And if anybody else has any ideas, actually wants to go to other festivals and hear bands live, which no one else on the commission will do. They'll go on the internet and listen to recordings. You know how good those are, Gary. Mm-hmm. And it's just me going, and then it becomes just my opinion. And then everybody's second guess, and they haven't listened live to any bands other than ones that we have on the Village Green and at the festival. So I went to the Village Green, and Blues Brothers was great, and Semple was great, and they're going to play for us at Fourth Fest. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we've had another 4th of July meeting.
Yeah.
I think we better get back to the village board meeting.
But as a
Thanks for your
taxpayer,
comments, Dr. Bob.
I really want you to do something. Our tax dollars are being wasted.
You made that very clear.
Thank you.
You made that very clear. Move on to item number 4, approval of the minutes of the October 2nd, 2017 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. Chair to accept the motion to approve the minutes of October 9th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions on these? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Move on to 5 consent agenda. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's a motion, a second. The items on the consent agenda consist of A, approval of the agenda, B, approval of the schedule of bills for October 16, 2017, in the amount of $4,589,440.07. C, request board approval of a resolution authorizing the village president to enter into a purchase and sale agreement between the Village of Hoffman Estates and SVAP Hoffman Plaza for LP, 75 and 85 East Gulf Road properties. D, request board approval of a resolution supporting a Cook County Class B Sustainable Emergency Relief SER classification application for property tax assessment purposes for the site located at 2160 Stonington Avenue. E, request board approval of a resolution supporting a Cook County Class 7C classification application for property tax assessment purposes for the site located at the northeast corner of Gulf Road and Barrington Road. F, request board approval of a site plan amendment for the removal of permeable pavers and installation of asphalt and parking stall areas of Fire Station 24. G, request board approval of a change order in the amount of $13,765.50 for the 2017 surface patching project with J.A. Johnson Paving Company, Arlington Heights, Illinois, in a total revised amount not to exceed $159,656.25. We have a motion, a second.
Mayor?
Trustee Mills, yes.
Didn't we, were there a couple corrections that needed to be done to the purchase resolution? When we talked about that at committee, wasn't there a couple things had to be added to that? Was that taken care of?
Corporation Council, was that, do you recall that?
Coming up.
Didn't we, at last meeting, weren't we talking about a couple things needed to be added into this?
You did.
Just want to make sure.
You made an amended motion for those two changes to occur, and
Yeah,
I believe
that's
they
all in
were
here now.
made.
And those were included before they sent their signed copy up
Okay,
here.
just
Yeah.
want to make sure we had it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Seeing nothing, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 6, President's Report. We have a couple of proclamations.
The first one, Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas exemplary public service employment is of vital importance in assuring provision of services directed toward the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of any community, and whereas the Public Works Department has upon its roster an individual who should be commended for assisting said department in faithfully serving the citizens of this community, and whereas length of service, coupled with continued training and positive attitude toward assigned job tasks, make a profile of this dedicated employee. And whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates, on behalf of its citizens, desires to acknowledge its indebtedness and gratitude for 20 years of dedication and proficiency in the aforementioned department. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by the virtue of authority vested in him, by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of this village as Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim Friday, November 3rd, 2017, as Nicholas Lakowski Day in the village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all employees and citizens of the village to join us in expressing gratitude and appreciation to this employee who may have assisted them with outstanding service.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, a second. We appreciate the great job that Nick has done for us for 20 years. It's hard to believe he's been here this long. Trustee Palafis.
So I was randomly throwing out some recycling today, and Nick was cruising by in his truck with one of the other Public Works guys, and got a chance to spend a little bit of time talking to him, and he mentioned he had the award tonight, and I'm like, so are you coming? He's like, no, I'm going to wait till 25 years. And I'm like, you got to make us wait that long? So he's great and everything the proclamation says, but I just thought I'd bring that up. It was
We
fun.
should just hold on to this for 5 years.
Hold on, hold it for ransom.
The numbers.
Yeah, Joe, you can tell him.
There is a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. Mr. Nebel, can you give this to Nick? You can wait 5 years if you want.
That's right.
Out of my hands. Thank you. No snow tonight, right?
Yeah, not for a while.
Okay, who's got the next one?
I do. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas thanks to the efforts of Father Michael J. McGivney, Assistant Pastor of St. Mary's Church in New Haven, and some of his parishioners, the Connecticut State Legislature on March 29, 1882, officially chartered the Knights of Columbus as a fraternal benefit society, and whereas the Knights was formed to render financial aid to members and their families. Mutual aid and assistance are offered to sick, disabled, and needy members and their families. Social and intellectual fellowship is promoted among members and their families through educational, charitable, religious, social welfare, war relief, and public relief works. And whereas the Knights of Columbus has grown from several members in one council to 15,342 councils and 1.9 million members throughout the United States and 16 other countries, and whereas the Knights of Columbus Hoffman Estates Chicago Council number 6964 dedicated their lives to fulfilling the original mission of the Knights through the great acts of charity and service, and whereas Council number 6964 held many service projects in 2017 to benefit such organizations as Special Olympics of Illinois, Adopt a Highway, and Catholic Charities, among others, including a blood drive, pancake breakfast, Tootsie Roll drive, dine and donate events, and many more. And whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates is proud to honor the Knights of Columbus Hoffman Estates Schaumburg Council 6964 as they celebrate 40 years of serving residents in our community. Be therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim Tuesday, October 17th, 2017 as Knights of Columbus Hoffman Estates Schaumburg Council number 6964 Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all residents and businesses of Hoffman Estates to join in its observance by learning about the work of Council number 6964, engaging in common acts of service to the community wherever, whenever possible, congratulating them on 40 years of service to the community.
Chair will accept a motion.
So
So
moved.
Motion, there's a second. Any discussion? We do appreciate the great work of the Knights of Columbus, and I think we have a few of them in attendance this evening. Okay, you want to come up and say a few words? Just up to the microphone there.
Yes, Bill.
Yeah, do you just want to talk about some of the stuff you do?
I don't have to say too much. We let our work and our actions speak for us. We did complete the Tootsie Roll Drive about 2 weeks ago, and this was a record year for us again. Every year we topped the previous year. But we do about 50 to 60 events a year. Special Olympics is one of them. Tootsie Roll obviously is another. The blood drives, we do 3 a year in the basement, or the lower level of St. Hubert's, as it's called nowadays. We just finished installing, as you were there, Mayor McLeod, Father Mike Shershell, and we will be there again on the 28th to say goodbye to Father Rizzo at St. Hubert's. So we do a lot for the community, but we love doing it, and that's what counts.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion. Come on up, everybody, come on up. Make the rounds there. Yeah.
Congratulations to you also.
Good job, thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
We gotta get your picture.
Yep.
Shirt.
Yeah, you do, you look great. Let's get a picture up here.
Thank you for all your service as well.
Right here is good. Come on, guys, get in here. Get in here. Oh, size is okay.
I got stuck in my stomach.
Mine too.
Ready? All right, over here, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, good job.
Well, I do have one appointment to make this evening. That's Nancy Trieb to the Emerging Technology Commission. Chair to accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. One resignation, Angela Ahuja from the Youth Commission. Chair to accept a motion.
So moved with regrets.
Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. We celebrated Trustee Palafis' birthday a little earlier today. That's next week, but we did the celebration today. So happy birthday, Trustee Palafis.
Thank you, sir.
On this Saturday, we have coffee with the board, in this very room at 10 a.m. So folks want to come out and meet with the board and ask questions if you'd like. Friday the 13th, we had the grand opening of Burlington. Friday the 13th was a good day for Hoffman Estates, the new Burlington store in Hoffman Plaza Shopping Center. And on Saturday the 14th, we had Pumpkin Fest over at the Historical Sites Commission Sunderledge Farm. They did a great job on that. And we had Hispanic Heritage Day here at the Village Hall that afternoon. And on Sunday, most of us were able to make it to Gigi's Fest. It was nice and cold, but they had a big crowd, as they always do. It's quite an operation that Nancy Gianni has put together. 34 Gigi's throughout the United States and Mexico. Then we had the open house at Fire Station 23, which was very well attended. I think the whole neighborhood was there. And that's all that I have for now. We'll start with trustee comments. Trustee Arnett.
Thank you. I also attended Gary Palafis's birthday dinner tonight. Happy birthday, Gary, early.
Thank you.
I also did attend the Community Pride Award ceremony tonight, and also did the Pumpkin Fest at the Sunderledge Farm once I actually got there. And then I also did the Heritage Fest, which was very well attended, very, very nice. And then also did the GG Fest and also the tour of Station 23.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned the Community Pride Awards, because people do a great job and really help the quality of life and the appearance of our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. On October 4th, I attended with Village Manager Jim Norris and Kevin Kramer the NLNW Community Pitch Award training seminar. Also, later that evening, attended the Economics Development Commission meeting, or actually that was in the afternoon. And on the 13th of October, I was able to attend the ribbon cutting for the Burlington opening, I should say grand opening. And on the 14th, attended the Pumpkin Fest at Sunderledge Farm, and I want to thank the Historical Sites Commission. They did another wonderful event. I understand they ran out of pumpkins because I guess the village, or the Park District's Pumpkin Fest got canceled, yeah. Anyway, then later that afternoon, I attended the Hispanic Heritage Day Festival, and I want to thank the Cultural Awareness Commission for that one. And on yesterday's event, I attended the Gigi's Fest, and I want to congratulate all the winners of the Community Pride Awards, and congratulations, Gary, on your 49th birthday.
Thank you, sir.
I got shoes older than him. Trustee Mills.
I actually do.
Also been a busy time. On the 6th, I was at the retirement luncheon for Officer Craig Neef, who has served the village well over the last 29 years, I believe it was, and we will definitely miss him. On the 9th, I was with the mayor at our Hoffman Estates Foundation committee meeting. The 13th, also at the Burlington grand opening, and brought the family there on Saturday so they could purchase a few items.
All right, thank you. Thank you for shopping at Hoffman Estates.
Always. Bring them from Chicago. Let them go shop out here. The 14th also went to Pumpkin Fest, but as you said, by 11:30 they were out of pumpkins, so the kids didn't get to do it, but it looked like everybody that was there had a great time. GG Fest, as always, the weather didn't keep them down. They had a great turnout, and you can't help but just stand back and admire Nancy Gianni for all she does. It's Mayor and I can remember back 14 years ago when she first started this. Who would ever think they'd be up to 34 plus Mexico? The Station 23 open house, congratulations to the fire department. You did a great job. Everybody seemed to be having a super time over there, and you had some great activities for the kids, which is always fun. Congratulations also to the Community Pride Award recipients this evening that helped to keep our town looking so great. And happy birthday to Trustee Palafis for next week.
Thank you. Trustee Palafis.
So I'd also like to congratulate the winners of the Sustainability Commission's Community Pride Award recipients. There's folks, I know one of them is my neighbor directly, and for those of you who've been over, have seen them in all their glory. They do so much work over there. It's staggering. And it does put pressure on other neighbors like myself to up our game. So it's quite hard. Today I attended the HEC meeting where we discussed, many of the services that so many of our agencies around us provide. Or actually, Congressman Krishnamurthy is considering joining or possibly sending someone from his staff. So that'll up our game a little bit too in terms of a federal presence. So we're looking forward to that. And then kind of on the heels of that, this Thursday we'll be submitting our application for the mayoral challenge, which is the Bloomberg Philanthropy Mayoral Challenge, in hopes to be awarded some of the monies. But many thanks to Jennifer and Monica. It's really her vision. I'm just in it, for the money side of it, really, is what I'm good at. Really, that's about my area of expertise. The rest of it I have to lean on Jen and Monica and then another gal, Lisa, from the POC. So we're hoping to see if we can be successful there and whatnot. But I also drove by Burlington this weekend, and the parking lot was very full. And it looks really nice when you're sitting at the, Higgins Roselle light, and you can see all the way down. It doesn't. You don't have that plateau that blocks the rest of the mall anymore, or peninsula, or whatever that thing was called. Yeah. So Kev and Mike and all your departments, great job on doing that. The Burger King, we're ready for it to come down. But otherwise, it's awesome over there. It looks really great.
Thank you. Trustee Newell.
Okay, a lot of what everyone else did, so it's going to be a lot of ditto and repeat, so I won't ad-lib a whole lot. 10/8, I did the car show at Sweet Caroline's. On the 14th, of course, it rained like I don't know what. It was the Pumpkin Fest, but that didn't stop everybody and the creativity. The kids had some great pumpkins on there. Hispanic Day, Heritage Day was really great. The food is always wonderful. Good crowd, a lot of work put into it, so thank you everyone who did that. GG Fest, of course, on the 15th, as the mayor had said, and Trustee Mills, that it's amazing the energy that Nancy Giannani has. I wish we could bottle it. It's just wonderful to see how many people are out there supporting. The Fire Station 23 was a big hit, a lot of people there. On the 16th, which was today, the Community Pride Awards, I always love to see those and think about all the different people that love to dig in the ground besides me. Happy birthday to Trustee Palafis at 49.
Thank you.
And then also happy belated birthday to Johanna, which I'm going to forget. Okay, I'm done.
Correct.
Trustee Yada.
Yes. Well, let's see. Friday the 13th, of course, a majority of us had gone to Burlington grand opening, and it's just a gorgeous store. There's no question. And Gary, you were saying about the parking lot. When we left the opening, that parking lot was about half full because people were going in, which was amazing. Yeah. And then on Saturday the 14th, the Pumpkin Fest put on by the Historical Commission at Sutherland. Boy, there was standing room only when I got there. And I didn't realize that the Park District had closed theirs. It was amazing. Anyways, on the 14th, the Hispanic Heritage Day Festival here at Village Hall. And thank you, Pearl, and your commission for doing an outstanding job for this event, as you do every year. And happy birthday belated birthday to my wife, Johanna. Thank you. Her birthday was last week, right? That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
I can't get in trouble, right?
I neglected to mention that on Saturday, the 14th in the evening, my wife Joni and I attended the Purple Tie Ball at the Western Itasca for the benefit of Wings. It was a great event. The food was incredible. There were a lot of people, and they raised a lot of money. They had great auction items. It was just unbelievable. They always do a great job, and under the leadership of Rebecca Dyer, a proud Hoffman Estates resident, it's always great to support Wings. Move on to 6C, Village Manager's Report. Manager O'Malley.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, 6D, Village Clerk's Report.
I'm taking under consideration that Trustee Stanton wants to get out early. No report.
You forgot to talk to Dr. Steinberg about that.
That's right.
We'll move on to 6D, Treasurer's Report. Chair would accept a motion for the July and August reports.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second, to accept the reports. Can you have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 6F, Committee Reports, Public Health and Safety. Trustee Gata.
Correct. Public Health and Safety will call their meeting on October 23rd, 2017. We will have a roll call. Then approval of the minutes, and under new business, we have 4 items, and they're all monthly reports. Request acceptance of the Police Department monthly report, Health and Human Services monthly report, Emergency Management Coordinator monthly report, the Fire Department monthly report. We'll have a President's report if there's anything and other items that have to be reviewed, and then we will have an adjournment.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Trustee Palafis.
Immediately following the Public Health and Safety Committee will be the Finance Committee. We will call to order to establish quorum, and then we will request an approval of the minutes for September 25th, 2017. We'll proceed to 4 items under new business, the first being a request approval of an amendment to the village's purchasing policy pertaining to the use of the village's sales tax exemption number by contractors and vendors. Number 2, 3, and 4 are all request acceptance of monthly reports for the Finance Department, the Information Systems Department, and the Sear Center monthly report. If need be, we'll have a President's report, anything in other that anybody wants to bring up to the committee. No items in review, and then we will request to be adjourned.
Thank you. Public Works and Utilities, Trustee Newell.
Okay, immediately following Finance on October 23rd, we'll have a roll call and the approval of minutes from September 25th, 2017, and under new business, we will have 4 items. And item 1 will be the discussion regarding the 2017-2018 Snow Ice Control Policy and Procedure Manual. Item number 2 is the request authorization to renew contract for the 2017-2018 sanitary sewer work that includes heavy cleaning, root cutting, CCTV inspection, and condition evaluation services with American Underground Incorporated out of Glenview, Illinois, which is the lowest qualified bid in an amount not to exceed $150,000. The last 2 items are the monthly reports for the Department of Public Works and for the Department of Development Services monthly engineering report of the Transportation and Engineering Division. And if there will be anything under President's report, nothing under other items in review, and then we will adjourn.
Thank you very much. Move on to 7, additional business. 7A, request board approval of request by Huntington Hoffman LLC for a 6-month extension of preliminary concept site plan approval for a Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins with a drive-through at 1600 Algonquin Road. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Trustee Palafis.
Did we hear anything from those guys after the committee meetings? Because they didn't look too happy about having the 6 months.
They
so.
They didn't talk to me. I have no idea if they talked to anybody.
Anything from the staff side, Kev?
No.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
He had to get on the microphone.
Thank you.
We tell him.
He's well-trained. Anybody else have anything?
Planning doesn't work out. Comedy's always in your forte.
Seeing no other questions, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
No.
Trustee Arnett.
No.
Trustee Mills.
No.
Trustee Newell.
6-month extension for the Dunkin' Donuts.
Was this the
site
site?
plan.
Between 6 and 0, and then we went back and forth with 9 and 6, and
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And it was approved initially
It was 6.
for 6 months, yeah.
It's 1 no away from failing, depending on how you vote.
so Dunkin' Donuts or not?
6-month extension or not?
Okay.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Wait, I didn't call you yet.
I know, but I just thought I'd go.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
No. Motion's defeated.
Kevin, you started it with the no. Just saying.
Move on to 8, adjournment to executive session. For what purpose, Trustee Mills?
I will make a motion. We adjourn into executive session for the purpose of litigation. 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
I'll second.
There's a motion a second for an executive session for litigation. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We are adjourned to executive session. We will not be coming back. Yeah.